Okay, we're going to continue with cell specialization and focus on specific cell adaptations. So to start off with, the concept of surface area to volume ratio is really just dictating how efficient a cell is at transporting materials in and out of the cell. Because if we picture a cell as a square and the cell grows bigger and its volume increases, the surface area will not be enough to provide efficient exchange for materials for the amount of volume. So a cell then divides, because when a cell divides, the volume stays constant and the surface area increases. And the more surface area a cell has, the more interaction with the environment it can have, which means that it can provide all of the things to the inside of the cell with maximum efficiency. So the higher surface area to volume ratio a cell has, the more efficient it is at in exchanging materials in and out of the cell. Oh. So the three ways a cell can do this is by being thin and flat, being folded or invaginated, or having villi and microvilli. And this is all ways of maximizing the surface area so that more materials can be exchanged in the environment. The rate of the cellular exchange depends on the surface area volume ratio. So again, cells will always divide to keep a higher surface area to volume ratio. And then we're going to start off with and this is all part of the HL syllabus, but adaptations of certain cells to maximize their surface area volume ratio. So the first one I have is erythrocytes and red blood cells, and they have a biconcave shape with no nucleus because not having a nucleus means they have more space within the cell to attach more oxygen molecules onto it, because the function of a red blood cell is to carry oxygen to muscles and tissues around the body. So the shape of it is really flattened, and that allows the surface area to be maximized for more oxygen molecules to attach on. Then we have the alveoli, which are the air-filled gas sacs within your lungs. And alveoli have two types of cells. They have the type 1 pneumocyte and the type 2 pneumocyte. And the first type of pneumocyte is flattened and extremely thin. They're one cell thick, and it minimizes the diffusion distance between gases into the bloodstream. Type 2 pneumocytes have a different function. They produce surfaction, which reduces the surface tension and allow the reduce the chance of the alveoli collapsing on within itself. Then we have nephrons. The nephrons are within the kidney, and focusing specifically on the proximal convoluted tubule, they have prominent microvilli on the surface of it, because with each addition of a microvilli, that creates additional like if we take that as a surface and we add microvilli, for each microvilli increases the surface area, which maximizes the absorption and secretion, because kidneys really just filter everything through, and the faster you can get the materials through, the more efficient the exchange is. And then we have the loop of Henle, and it has, again, a lot of invagination to allow the reabsorption of substances from the nephron back into the blood. And then we have the three types of muscle cells. We have striated muscle cells, smooth muscle, and cardiac muscle. Striated muscles are when we think of muscles that control movement. So they're unbranched and they provide strength for movement. The cells are really long and they generate more contractile force to allow movement to happen, and they're multinucleated to support the metabolic reactions. Smooth muscles are involuntary and they line the organ systems. They're not striated and they're not arranged into sarcomeres, but they regulate organ systems and they allow propulsion of food or other substances through your intestines. Then the cardiac muscle is branched and allows for rapid, simultaneous heart pumping, so to allow the heart muscles to pump at the same time to allow for contractions. They are short and they only have one nucleus. And because they're branched, they can allow for synchronized muscle contractions. So the average cell size of these adaptive cells, the longest one we obviously have the striated muscle cells that we've just spoken about, but there's also neurons and nerve cells that can be up to 1 meter long and stretch down the entirety of your spinal cord, because they need to reach and send neural signals to all parts of your body. And then the egg, which is part of the female reproductive system, is around 100 nanometers in diameter, which is quite big compared to the other reproductive organs. And then we have the red blood cell with the 7 to 8 nanometer diameter, micrometer. And then sperm cells are around 5 micrometer. Okay, and then to look at the sperm and cell adaptations, the main parts of the egg adaptations is that it's quite big, and this means that in the chance that one does become pregnant, it has enough nutrients to support the uterus. No, it has enough nutrients to support the developing embryo, and yeah, so it contains lots of fat, and there are certain things on the exterior side of the egg to prevent over-fertilization of an egg, which allows babies to develop normally. Yeah. And then they also have the haploid nucleus, which just contains the single set of sex cells. And then we have the sperm adaptations. Sperm adaptations focuses really on the length and the tail to propel the sperm forward, and then also with the adaptation of multiple mitochondria to provide ATP by respiration to aid the sperm as it travels through the body. And then again, we have the reproductive sex chromosomes, and then the plasma membrane to allow penetration through the egg cell. And that is everything for cell specialization.